Welcome to the very first episode of Dear April, where you send in your questions and I either channel the answer to them or speak from my own personal experience. Now, my own personal experience is that I have had some major struggles in the past. About 7 years ago, I was actually extremely miserable in my life, even though I really had everything that a girl could want or need. I still was always focused on what seemed to be missing, what wasn't there for me, most especially in my romantic relationships. So there came a time when I finally realized that it was my responsibility to take care of myself and my own needs and my own heart. And that changed everything. And right around that time, I also discovered Reiki, started to develop my intuition, and I was reading everything I could get my hands on from every master out there. Louise Hay, Eckhart Tolle, Wayne Dyer. And it changed my life. But don't get me wrong, I still struggle through the shift just like everybody else. In fact, regardless of how awesome I feel or how great my life is going or what stage of enlightenment I get to, I still feel what's going on with all of you. I still feel the collective tension. I still have the collective experience. So I know when everyone else is having a hard day, because I walk around that day feeling super heavy myself, and I have to get really mindful about minding my own energetic business and keeping my vibration as high as I can. So that's a process that I'd like to guide you guys through as well. And that's what this show is all about, is being able to maintain your own center through this whole shift and this roller coaster ride of energy that we've been on. So the first thing I'd like to do is begin with a couple of letters. Dear April, do you know anything about 1111 and the light workers who came here to heal the earth? And when I went to a healing circle, the palms of my hands were super tingly and got really hot, then felt like a strong heartbeat in my palms, then were super strong magnets to each other. Does that mean I'm a healer? Thank you, Rainey. Okay, Rainey. So the first question, do I know anything about 1111? Sure. Just about anybody who is doing any level of healing work at this time is pretty familiar with the 1111 concept. It's basically a set of numbers that people will see all over the place, like on a clock. Every time you look at the clock, it may be a repeat of numbers, like it might be 11:11 a.m. or 11:11 p.m., or it might be 4:44 p.m. Basically, it's a set of numbers that show up for you again and again, and not just necessarily on clocks, but all over the place. You might see it in a money amount. You might see it on a radio, a song that's playing, and you look down and it's at a specific second count. It just shows up in a bunch of different ways, addresses, everything. But 1111 in particular has a very special meaning at this time because it's all about awakening. So 1111 is very important to this time of the shift. And most of you know what I'm talking about with the shift. The shift is all about the whole 2012 thing where a lot of people thought the end of the world was coming, but really it was a transition from everything that we've known, from everything that we were going through, and moving into a better world, a better life, and a more beautiful way of interacting with each other, and that comes from awakening. So 1111 is the symbol for awakening and the fact that it's time to wake up. It's time to figure out who you are, not just as a physical being, not, oh, I'm a mom, I'm a teacher, I'm an energy healer. It's, I am a spirit who is here to have a physical experience on the earth plane. And I am a spirit being who came here to make a difference on the earth plane. And the light workers who came here to heal the earth. There's a great book by Dolores Cannon called The Three Waves of Volunteers and the New Earth. And I actually mention it in my book as well, which is Essence, Ending Emptiness, Finding Fulfillment. You can get that on Amazon, iBooks, and Nook. So that is my book, and we'll talk more about that later. But I do talk about not necessarily the 1111 thing, but the light workers who have come to change the earth, to create more peace between people, and to sort of create that dynamic of as above, so below. So the peace that you imagine when you are in your spirit form and when you go back to your source, it's about bringing that peace back here to the earth plane. And in order for that to really occur, a lot of the systems and things that are in place right now, including the government, the economy, the school systems, the church, it's going to have to go through some major upheavals. And so it's going to look pretty messy for a little while. But the point through that is to recognize that it is moving towards something better. And to hold your core, hold your space, hold your center, as you recognize that all of the upheaval, all of the negativity, all of the garbage, it's happening for a reason. And it's moving us towards something better, something healthier. And it's okay if there's revolution. It's okay if there's struggle. It's okay if the systems, as they've been for a long time, begin to crumble. So hold your core, your center, through that. But there is a group of spirits who have volunteered to come and help through that shift. And the premise is basically that there were 3 waves of volunteers. And the first wave would have been people like John Lennon and Albert Einstein that helped begin to implant more wisdom into our culture, new ideas, and to just kind of get into the public consciousness that maybe the way that things have been is not necessarily for the best and not necessarily the complete truth, and that there may be something better that we can move toward. The second wave of volunteers are people who, a lot of us are light workers, the people who are meant to uphold a higher vibration. So basically all we have to do is keep ourselves balanced and centered and keep our vibration as high as we can, and that ripples out and helps the earth, it helps other people. And of course, throughout that, we also are walking our own path and going through our own stuff. So it's a process just like it is for anyone else who's not part of that volunteer system. So essentially, regardless of whether you're one of those volunteers or not, your job right now is to hold your center and keep your vibration as high as you can, because it's going to feel good, it's going to affect positive change around you. So what could it hurt to try to keep your vibration as high as you can? And the third wave, this is possibly going to be a little shocking for some of you. The third wave is all about the new people coming in. So we're talking probably 25 years old and under, people with ADD, people with autism, people with intuitive abilities, people with healing abilities, people who are extremely creative. This is the new wave of volunteers. And the autism, the ADD, they're gifts, just like the healing abilities and the intuitive abilities. They're gifts. If we allowed people with autism to focus on their obsessions, their gifts, imagine what change they could create. Imagine the things that they could invent. So basically, this new group is going to be what creates the future. And the future is going to look a lot different. And it's time to begin surrendering to that and allow the the new generation to begin affecting positive and creative change in the world, rather than trying to get them to fit into the old mode and the old ways of doing things and trying to make them sit still in class. It's time to allow them to express in their natural ways. And that's another piece of the education system, is figuring out how to teach to individuals rather than fitting the individuals to the system. And it's not going to be a quick or easy change, but it's going to happen. So the rest of her question is, when I went to the healing circle and the palms of my hands were super tingly and got really hot, and then felt like a strong heartbeat in my palms, then were super strong magnets to each other. Does this mean that I'm a healer? The simple answer is, yeah, it's probably a pretty good indication that you are meant to work with healing energy. Because if you have not already been attuned or activated to give healing energy, for you to be able to feel the energy from that group in that way means that you are already activated to some extent, that your healing abilities already exist, and your ability to pass energy through your energy systems is already viable, open, and flowing. So most people, when they first experience healing energy, whether they receive a Reiki session or are part of a healing circle or whatever, they might feel really calmed, comforted, cradled, really relaxed. But it takes somebody who is very energetically open to be able to see colors and lights, or to feel the energy pulsing in their own hands or through their own bodies. So there is definitely something very open within you if you are experiencing that without even having been given an attunement to an energy modality. So I wouldn't say necessarily that you would have to go off and become a full-time healer, because we don't need millions and millions and millions of energy healers all over the planet, because there aren't enough people right now who are open to that to fill the tables of all of those energy healers and intuitives that are coming to light right now. What we need are people who are that open to energy and have a deeper knowing and understanding of how to maintain your own inner peace, to be able to go out into the world and work normal day-to-day jobs with average Joes who know nothing about any of this stuff, and to be able to be an example of what an awakened life looks like. Without trying to push it on them, you're not trying to convert anybody. You're just going about your life, and you're being an example of what it looks like to be energetic, high vibration, and awake. And the more people see that, the more people feel that and interact with you, the more their vibration's going to raise, the more curious they're going to get about how and why you're at the level of peace that you're at when they struggle so much. So you don't have to do anything other than walk your own path and do your own journey and just get out there in the world. And the people who can learn from you and the people who can be healed by you will automatically come to you without you having to open a healing practice or, do any of this work. It's very difficult to run a healing practice in this world. There are very few people who are really ready to invest in their energetic care. They just don't see the value in it yet. And I have to say that within the last 5 or 6 years, I have noticed a huge amount more people are open to it, at least, but they may not see the complete value in spending money on it or investing in it on a regular basis or having themselves attuned to it. So you have to just be able to bring this to whatever it is that you do, regardless of whether that's opening a healing practice, doing psychic readings, or working at the bank and just being a really high vibration, happy, awake, and open loving person. So thank you, Rainey. I appreciate the question. And the next question is, Dear April, I'm in the process of buying my first house, a 100-year-old fixer-upper, which I will be renovating with my partner. It's an amazing opportunity, and literally a dream come true. My relationship is fun and passionate, our communication is excellent, and I am just so in love. So much positivity and excitement. But recently we started to talk about more nitty-gritty stuff, the money stuff. It's important, but really challenging for us. First of all, talking about money feels more taboo than even the most controversial religious or political topic. And I believe this is a self-perpetuating cycle. No one talks about it, so no one has a good perspective on what other people's reality is. Always comparing ourselves to some unattainable ideals. So there's more to this letter, but I want to stop there, and I want to tune into this. So I'm going to bring through a channel, if that's what needs to come through right now. I've been seeing a lot of people dealing with money stuff, so bear with me for a moment. You are so open and energetically aware. You are a beautiful and dynamic person. We see your light in the strongest and most powerful way. And we congratulate you on your progress. Communication on money is obviously not an easy topic to broach for anyone, and most especially in your romantic relationships, because there is so much at stake. You may get along on every other topic, and yet on money you have two totally different experiences. And every person on this planet has an entirely different experience, has an entirely different history and perception. So when you tune into that, when you recognize that your partner has a completely different experience to yours, and a completely different perception than yours regarding anything, but in this case, money, sit with that for a moment. Your partner has a different history than you do, and a different perception than you do. Your mind, based on its history and perception, creates your version of reality, your individual version of reality. So for some people, money is just another form of energy. And really that's all it is. It's another form of energy for exchange. But for some, money is the root of all evil. For some, money is scarce. For some, money is abundant. It all depends on your history and your perception, and that of your ancestors, and that of your culture. So when you discuss money with your partner, it must come from this place of understanding that their history and their perception is different because of their family past and their interaction with money and the culture. It is very important to be able to broach the topic openly and to acknowledge that both of you is coming from a different standpoint on this topic. But if you can communicate openly and peacefully and sweetly, and respectfully about money, you'll be able to deal with anything else that comes up with grace and ease. Okay. So the next piece says, now, as the pure excitement of the fantasy is waning, the dream is becoming more a reality. With that came this incredibly terrifying and realistic daymare. One of the very first projects is clearing the vegetation around the house. The plan is to use a chainsaw and chipper to clear out all the overgrown brush and vines that could damage the house. The problem is, I have this vision nearly every time I close my eyes of either my father or my precious lover getting dismembered, slashed, or otherwise injured by a chainsaw. It comes to me when I close my eyes to fall asleep. It's present as soon as I give it the slightest waking thought. It's especially terrifying as I develop my intuition. I wonder, is this a premonition? But I think it feels different from that. A louder message than the whispers I get from my clairsentience. My logical mind knows that people use chainsaws every day, and there are many dangerous jobs to be completed throughout the renovations. Why this stuckness on the chainsaw? How can I show this horror movie in my mind the door? What's the reason for this daymare? Looking forward to hearing your thoughts, Brenda. So I'm going to tune into that. We see that there is a challenge within you and a resistance that is building and makes no cognizant sense to you whatsoever. And yet to us it makes all the sense in the world. How many times have you lost something that you felt connected to? How many times have you been drawn in and opened yourself, only to have that connection change or disappear or end? And this has not occurred only in this lifetime, but various lifetimes. Again and again, you have lost many that you have loved. And so seeing your lover or your father dismembered in this way is a symbol for you of the fear of that loss. It is a conscious way for your mind to recognize that you have subconscious beliefs that they're going to leave you in some way. Whether that is physically by dying or emotionally. And it doesn't matter how that end would come. What matters is that you, in your subconscious mind, believe that the end will come in some form. That you love them so much, and you have so much gratitude that they are willing to take part in these renovations with you. And yet it's scary. Scary to allow them in. Scary to connect with people so deeply and trust them and rely on them. And to risk losing them. So I want you to take a deep breath right now. And I want you to feel. Feel that fear of losing them. How would you feel if they were harmed by that chainsaw? How would you feel if they left you? Pay attention to where you feel that in your body. find the physical base of that emotion and just feel it. Just tune into it. Give it all of your attention, all of your awareness. Let it build. Let yourself feel the feeling of losing them. And I want you to hold it, cradle it like a baby, rock it, and love it. All energetically in your mind's eye, see yourself holding and cradling this part of yourself that is in resistance and fear. What does this part of you need to hear? What does this part of you need to know, to remember? What is the perception of this part of you? The history and perception of this part of you is that when you care for something or someone, you lose it. You lose them. But is that the actual truth? Have you lost everyone and everything you've ever cared for? Or has it just happened in certain instances, when it was perhaps something you chose as a divine being as your experience? Or when it was the natural end to something or someone, and you perceived it as a loss to you? So show that to this part of yourself. Feel it. Feel it. Feel it. Sit with this for as long as you need to, and you can even replay this as you'd like in order to continue that healing. I have a feeling it might need to be done 2 or 3 times to release that program in you. Thank you, Brenda. So the next letter says, Dear April, my current struggle is with money. I got fired from my job last year and started my own business. I've been able to create enough money to keep me going, but it's not enough so that I can feel totally relaxed and not start worrying about how I'm going to pay the bills next month. I guess my question is, how can I open myself up to receiving more wealth while doing less work? There's a part in my belief system that says I have to work hard to earn money. I'd like to do it with ease. Thank you, Casey. And I have to say that that is a pretty common situation right now, including something that I have been working through myself. I've been really working with a lot of my beliefs on money, my programs, my all of the subconscious garbage that has been flowing through the back of my mind in resistance to being able to just open and receive money with grace and ease, rather than pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing and climbing and striving and always going and doing and just having to always be busy in order to create some level of success. And so I've been not only seeing that in myself, but in nearly everyone around me, to some extent and on some level. And I think what's going on right now is, we're in that shift. We're in that process of going from the old way of doing things and the old belief of you have to work hard and earn your money and struggle and life is hard and so on, into just allowing yourself to receive and to open and to surrender. So this is a process that we're all going through at this time, and not just with money, but money is so close to our survival center. Our money is so much at the root of us feeling safe and secure in this world that money is the top struggle that many people are having. And it really rocks us. It rocks us to our core. So I'd like to do a little channel on that. Money is the root of all evil. Really? Is that what you want to be saying to yourself? Is that the belief you want to carry? Or is that something that somebody said to you when you were 3, when you were 5, when you were 10? What did people say to you about money? I'm being shown right now the situation that occurred with me recently. I was telling someone that when I did consultations, I had this program running through my mind all the time. They can't afford me. They can't afford me. Over and over again, every single time I talked to anybody, regardless of whether they could afford me or not. And this woman that I was talking to, who does similar work to mine, said, when was the first time someone couldn't afford you? Could your parents afford you? No, they couldn't. My mom was 17 when she got pregnant with me. My dad was maybe 20. And they weren't even in love. And yet they got married. They did the right thing. It didn't last long. They didn't have much money. And that was absorbed into me before I was even born. My mother, worrying about money all the time, energetically programmed me that I was unaffordable. And then as I grew up, could they afford me? Could they afford to send me to dance lessons or anything that I wanted to go to? Rarely. And so there was an overlying feeling of they can't afford me. And so here I am wandering around in my adult life, building a clientele, and actually doing fairly well, but not seeing it. And speaking to people thinking they can't afford me every time. So this is the kind of programming that gets put into us. So regardless of whether that is the program, money is the root of all evil, or we can't afford you, or you're not worthy, it's all running around in our subconscious mind, and the subconscious is 80% of the way we interact with the world. It's our knee-jerk reactions. It's it's the voice in the back of your mind that when you intend something, you try to manifest something, it argues with you. It says you're not worthy of that, or that's not possible, or they can't afford you, or money's the root of all evil. You can't have more money. That makes you evil. So it's very important to take note of those programs that come up as you begin to try to manifest your desires. Pay attention to the statements that you come up with in resistance to it, and write them down. And then with each one, go into a nice meditative state and just feel those statements one by one. And the deeper you get into a nice relaxed state, the better it is. And it certainly would help to have somebody that does this for work walk you through it. Me or anyone else that you trust that does any level of hypnosis, EMDR, meditation training, can walk you through working on these issues. So let's say you have the statement, money is the root of all evil. You're going to take that statement and you're going to sit with it. You're going to go into meditation. You're going to relax as much as you possibly can. You're going to let your brain get nice and soft and loose and hazy. And you're going to look for where in your body do you feel discomfort when you say the words money is the root of all evil to yourself. And don't label it, just feel it. Just bring all of your awareness to it and bring it up. Hold it in your hand, look at it, pull it out of your body, and in your mind's eye, look at this statement. Don't judge it, just examine it. And ask yourself, is this the truth? Call in your divine helpers, your higher self. Ask, is this the truth? Or is money just an energy exchange that can hold positive or negative energy depending on the intention and the way that it's used? Can money be used for evil? Sure. Can money be used for good? Absolutely. So it's time to let go of that statement. So you hand it over to the universe, your divine helpers, your higher self, and you ask that it be transmuted, changed into something of a higher vibration. What would you rather have that say? I attract wealth and abundance, in abundance. I love money. Money flows to me with grace and ease. Money allows me to serve others in the highest and best way. You can choose whatever statement you'd like and ask that money is the root of all evil become whatever that statement is that you prefer. And see that being placed back into your body where that old program was. See it being put into your mind. And then you just come back into the regular world, and you may need to do this one 150 times. It depends on how long that program has been in there and how deep it is. So just keep doing that. Every time you feel resistance, every time you feel that old statement or pattern coming up, or any new ones that come up, do that process with it again, and again, and again, and again, and again. Okay, so I'm going to break now for a little bit of a commercial, and then when we come back, I am going to do a general channel for everyone at this time, so for this week. And so I am the sponsor today of the show, and my book is Essence, Ending Emptiness, Finding Fulfillment. This book is about shifting your mindset to create more peace and happiness in your life. This book is about relationships and finding more peace and happiness in your relationships and more happiness within yourself rather than always relying on someone else to create your happiness for you. It's also about developing your intuition, your healing abilities, building a bigger connection with your higher self, your spirit, the divine. And it's also about reprogramming yourself. So there is a lot in here that it will be of benefit to you, and there's something in there for everybody at all levels. And it's very empowering, really a fun, quick read. And it comes with all kinds of digital bonus material as well, meditation videos, even for people who whose brains won't shut up. And there's a hypnosis system in here to do self-hypnosis on yourself. And all kinds of other really cool stuff. So I highly recommend it, and check it out. So there's that. And then also, if you don't want the book, but you want the meditation videos because you know you're supposed to meditate, but your brain just won't shut up, go to mindmetamorphosis.com, and you can get just the meditation videos there if that's something that you're interested in. And I love it. It changed my life. When I started doing that level of meditation, my intuition blew wide open. I was able to start channeling. It really changed a lot for me. So it's more than just how to meditate. It's kind of how to use your busy mind to your advantage. It's really about sneaking into the theta brainwave state, which is the primary purpose of meditating. So that's that. And if you would like to become a sponsor, you can email me at dearapril@mail.com. And, I can send you some information on sponsoring the show if you'd like to do that. So what I want to do next is just do a channeled message for everyone. And when you're listening to a channel, especially if the channel is for you in particular, but also if the channel is based on an issue that you're currently having, like if you're listening and somebody's letter that I read resonated with you and your issue, just allow yourself to really relax into the channel and feel it. Allow yourself to really tune into the energy and just surrender to the experience. So when I channel this message, which is for everybody at this time, what you would do is just kind of take a few slow, deep breaths, relax back into your chair, close your eyes, and just experience the channel completely. Okay, a few deep breaths. Settling into your body, letting all of your tension melt. We see that there is so much tension and pressure and weight on all of you right now. It's as though somebody has placed a weight on the planet and is pushing down, pushing down, pushing down. And all of you are feeling it on your shoulders, on your heads, in your bellies. And it feels so heavy, so tense, so intense. And it makes you want to escape. It makes you want to escape into drugs and alcohol and shopping and sex. It makes you want to escape. It makes you wish there was a dial you could turn or a switch you could flip to just turn this off, to just get a break. There is. There is a dial you can turn. There is a switch you can flip. You're in control of this. While you have to be here on this physical planet, in this physical body, experiencing the shift and all of its highs and lows, you control your reaction. You control your level of resistance to it or surrender to it. And you also, with your mind, are able to control your body. And with your higher consciousness, are able to control your mind. Tune into this higher consciousness. Look at your physical brain as a tool. Your physical brain is not you, not your identity. Your physical brain is a tool, just like your physical body. It is the vehicle and the engine for your soul to interact with this world in. You as a higher being can tell your brain what it is you want your body to feel. So see yourself inside your brain, inside a control panel, inside a control room, and see all of the dials and switches in front of you with your hormones on it, your pain levels, the knot in your stomach, or cortisol. Oxytocin, endorphins. You can play with all of that. Find one for hormone balance. Put it right to the center. Perfectly balanced hormones. Feel what happens in your body. Find your dial for cortisol. Turn it down, turn it down, turn it off. Click. Tune into your belly. And that knot in your stomach is slowly dissipating. If you're picking up on things from people around you, intend that there be a force field around you that allows in only positive feelings, only positive people and energy. And all negativity bounces off. And anytime you feel like you're picking up on someone or something that isn't quite right, force fields activate. You can do this. You have the power and ability. Do you have pain? Find the dial labeled pain. Where do you want it? Want to turn it off? Turn it off. You feeling icky and heavy? Find the dial for your overall feeling. Turn it up. Blast it. Allow yourself to feel blissful and powerful and good. Turn it up. You did all of that. We didn't do it. I didn't do it. You did it. So thank you. Thank you for coming to the first episode of Dear April. I'm sure they'll all be different lengths and times, and oh, speaking of that, my hair. My hair will probably be different every time you see me too. And for a while, I wasn't doing that. You know, most of my promotional pictures, you'll see me with, brown hair about this long. That's my natural hair color. And I was trying to have consistency, as the marketing gurus would tell you to have. But consistency doesn't allow for evolution, doesn't allow for revolution. And it's time to play. And that's how I play. So I hope that you guys will play with me. And I would love more questions from you guys. So if you would like your questions answered, send it to dearapril@mail.com, M-A-I-L. And you can send questions to that. You can send your struggles to that. And you can also send any questions you have about having your products or services advertised on the show as well. So I look forward to connecting with you guys again soon. And thank you so much for tuning in. Namaste.